Now, where local sports always come first, this is Action Force Sports.
Hello, Rio Grande Valley High School football fans. I'm Clay Williams, Action Force Sports Director. Time to make our picks for the high school games of Week 2. But before we do, there's no getting around it. I had one of the worst weeks in the history of my picks. In the 3 years I have been doing this, it didn't get any worse than last week when I had 14 right and 13 wrong. Wow, almost 500. I'm lucky I didn't end up under 500, but let's make up for it this week. Let's get rid of that 14 and 13 record, and let's see how many we can get right this time around. Let's start on Thursday. It is La Jolla at Edinburgh Vela, both teams coming off of wins. I've got the Vela SaberCats winning their second ever game in program history and their second straight win. Meanwhile, it is Rio Grande City La Grulla at PSJA Southwest. I've got Southwest winning this one in a comeback after losing last week. Mission Sharyland, after a bye week, is taking on the Laredo Alexander Bulldogs in Laredo, and I've got the Sharyland Rattlers winning that one on the road. Those are Thursday's games. Let's start on Friday, going west to east, starting with Laredo Figueroa in Roma. Roma had no problem last week with Laredo Martin. I don't expect them to have any problem this week against Laredo Figueroa. Juarez Lincoln is at Palmview. I've got the Huskies winning the battle of the two La Jolla schools. Huskies over Lobos there. Zapata is at Mission Veterans. If Mission Veterans didn't have any problem with the two 5A teams they've already beaten, they certainly shouldn't have any problem with the 3A team and the Hawks. I've got the Patriots going to 3-0. McAllen Rowe at McAllen. Wow, what a game. A fantastic inter-city rivalry. I've got the Rowe Warriors coming up with a win and giving the Mackay Bulldogs their first loss of the year. Edinburgh Economides at Edinburgh North. Another great inter-city rivalry, and I've got the Edinburgh North Cougars winning that one, handing Economides their first loss. Another rivalry to tell you about, it is Far Valley View and Hidalgo. You could throw a rock and hit one stadium from the other one. I've got the Valley View Tigers winning this one at Bill Pate Stadium and keeping the Pirates winless on the year. PSJA Memorial at PSJA, a Tri-City battle. Fantastic games this week in Week 2. I've got the PSJA Bears continuing their stellar run and going to 3-0 with a win over the Wolverines. Edinburgh is at Donna, two old foes. I've got the Donna Redskins rebounding from their loss against Weslaco, and I've got them downing the Bobcats. PSJ North at Weslaco East, a couple of teams that wear black looking to get back off of losses in Week 1. I've got Weslaco East and Mike Burgett winning his first home game as head coach of the Wildcats. Harlingen Marine Military Academy is at Progresso's Red Ant Stadium. I've got the Red Ants coming up with a win at home. Esteban Ontiveros had a fantastic rushing game last week. I expect that to continue. Another little border rivalry, it is La Feria at Mercedes. One on one side of the county line, one on the other. Mercedes won their first game of the year last week at Hidalgo. I see them taking care of another 3A team with a win against La Feria. Lyford is at Santa Rosa. Lyford will win this game. They have something to prove after the big loss at Port Isabel last week. Corpus Christi London is at Santa Maria. Chalk that one up for the Cougars over the much smaller Corpus Christi area team. Brownsville Pace is at Harlingen South. I've got the South Hawks going to 3-0 with another win against yet another team that wears green. Far Oratory is at La Serra up in Willacy County. And I've got the La Serra Lions winning that one against the Ocelots of Far Oratory. Meanwhile, just a few miles to the east, it is Port Isabel at Raymondville, and what PI is looking at as the battle to determine who is the top 3A team in the Valley. I've got Port Isabel staying undefeated with a win, but it will be a hard-fought one at Burnett Stadium against the Bearcats. McAllen Memorial is at San Benito. I've got the Mustangs rebounding from last week's loss and keeping San Benito on the losing side of things with a win there. Brownsville Veterans at Brownsville Porter at Sam Stadium. I've got Brownsville Veterans taking their second straight game and keeping the Cowboys winless on the year. La Via at Brownsville St. Joseph. This should be another fantastic game. but it will be tough to keep the St. Joe Bloodhounds off of the scoreboard. I've got them scoring another 50 and winning that one over the Cardinals. Meanwhile, out of town, it is Mission at Corpus Christi Toloso Midway. I've got Mission and the Eagles coming up with a big win on the road against the Warriors. Rio Hondo is at Sinton. Sinton just a little too tough for a strong Rio Hondo team that just came off beating a 5A, but Sinton is tough to beat when on the Pirates' home field. Monte Alto is up in Brush Country at Agua Dulce. I've got Monte Alto's Blue Devils coming up with a win there. Two games to tell you about on Saturday, both of them at Sam Stadium in Brownsville. Harlingen takes on Brownsville Rivera, which should be another win for the Cardinals. Make that 2 straight for them. While Los Fresnos is at Brownsville Hanna in the nightcap game at Sam Stadium. Look for the Falcons to get back on the winning side of the ledger with a win over the Golden Eagles. Those are your picks for week 2 of the Valley High School football season. We'll see if we can improve on that 14-13 record from week 1. I'm Clay Williams, Action 4 Sports Director. We'll see you right again here next week.